what are the impacts of confidence? I'm not even going to say lacking. I'm going to talk about confidence hiding, because I know that all of us were born confident. We all had confidence when we were born. If we cried, someone was going to come and help us. If we needed something, we just needed to yell out. God, some of our teenage kids here that are still doing that. But we knew on some level for our survival that somebody was going to react when we made a noise. So we had that level of confidence. Then as we tend to get older and issues happen, things happen, events happen, that confidence starts to get eroded away, which ends up being, which for many of you while you're here, the confidence of speaking in front of other people. And I'm not even just going to talk public speaking, just speaking to sometimes one person, but for most of us, many people, brings up some reactions in the body. So we want to be able to work out what some of those impacts are for you and help you to move through it. The other thing, we're going to try and have a look at where the actual fears came from. Some of it will be back in childhood. Some of it may be something directly happened to you. Some of it's stuff that happened to other people. But either way, it is definitely about figuring out where it came from so we can let go of it for you, help you to release it. And the other one is, as I said, clear where the fear came from. Because when we have this fear of speaking in front of other people, when we have those body reactions, it holds us back from so many things that we want to do. And so much of it is, it just impacts your whole adult life. Everything from relationships to dating to career to business. It just impacts so much. So this is going to be a little bit tricky to be able to play this. So heads up, this is a confidence call. This course is, I am going to ask people to come off mute. I am going to ask people to kind of show up. I'm going to ask you to stop hiding. This is a safe place. I will offer that to you. The footage from these calls at this point in time do not go anywhere public, so they stay with us. So it's not like this is going to get released into anything public. The stuff that may or may not get released public will be me talking and me speaking and not you. So if that gives people some level of confidence of being able to sort of, pop their little hand up and have a chat or come off mute, that would be wonderful. So let's go. So Leslie and I, so we're going to hope that these work. Leslie and I created polls. So I believe if I click here, you start to see a poll. Now, I have people who have already put answers in there. Does that mean you have already seen the polls? They've shown up somewhere? Could someone come off mute and share with me how I've got responses in the polls already? Or can someone tell me that they can click on them? Kate, Leanne, May, come on, you guys, you're with me.
It was there when I logged on, but then when I started talking to you, it flicked off. So I didn't fill it in, and I don't know where it is now. So I'm not sure.
Popped up as you opened Zoom, but wouldn't let me see it until I entered it. So Isabella, you're telling me that it wouldn't let you into the call until you went onto the poll? Really, Leslie, are you taking note of this? I said, we thought we'd be very clever and we would bring the poll on now and we would start to get some information and some interaction without realizing that, okay, so you couldn't get on till you drew on the poll. Can you tell that we're learning stuff? Now I'm going to shift this into, where would my confidence be if I couldn't come on this call with half of you as strangers and laugh about this? Does it really matter if this is so messed up? Some interaction, guys. Does it matter? No. Does anybody care? Is it going to impact my life tomorrow, do you think? So does this highlight some of our stuff where we get a little bit overthinking what some of the things are that we think about and some of the stuff that we worry about? Yeah? It does really highlight that, doesn't it? Because so much of what we do is, what are they going to think? What are they going to say? They. We do way too much of that. So I'm going to pop the little poll down, and we're going to laugh about this, Leslie and I, when we come off the call of, oh my God, how did that happen? Because the plan was you were supposed to see the poll now. So if I click it down, does it disappear for everybody else? Or does it no longer pop up anywhere because you've already done it? Anyone want to share with me?
I can't see it anywhere. So I did see it before, but now it's kind of disappeared.
I say, Chris, so was it when you came onto the call, was it there then?
No, I didn't see it. I only saw it when you mentioned it, or when you started talking about it, and then I could click it and it'll pop up. But now it's completely disappeared, so I don't see it.
So now
anyway.
is it back?
No. If I'm looking in the right place. Maybe if I go to more. Oh yeah, no. If I click on more, then there's the poll. Yeah,
the poll's there. Yeah.
Oh, this is just funny as. So when we come back in January and February, we're going to have this all sorted out, Leslie. All right, let's continue talking about confidence. So we have more lovely people coming on. We're just laughing the fact that the whole idea of having a poll and where it was supposed to turn up didn't turn up, and we're still just going to continue to roll with the class, all right? So I'm going to shrink that down. And again, continue to laugh. I can see Leslie will be on her computer cringing currently of what went wrong. So anyway, so let's start to talk about some other stuff that goes along with all of this. I'm going to move the chat thingy and all your gorgeous faces. I hate not seeing your faces. We'll have to work that a little bit out because that's not what it works for. That doesn't make me happy. So I want you to talk about, so whether you're in your workbook or whether you are just looking at on pen and paper, let's start to figure out some of the stuff around public speaking. To me, language is really important. Anyone who really knows me knows language is important. What you say to yourself is important, even the semantics of what you say. So when you think about public speaking, is it the audience size? I.e., if it's more than one person, is that public speaking? Is it 5 people at the office in your team huddle? Does that constitute public speaking? Because when you define which one it is, you can then identify which one is your trigger. Because for some people, the idea of being up on stage is terrifying. That's public speaking. But so is presenting to your boss a presentation in front of a couple of people at work. That's public speaking. Talking in your team huddle, public speaking. Going on your social media live with your phone, wherever my phone is, I don't know where the phone is, going live on just your phone, public speaking. But because there are so many little parameters to it, in our heads and therefore in our body, because we're going to head into body work soon, in your body, it has a different reaction. If anyone wants to come off mute and share some of this, please do. Is it the audience type? Who you're talking to? I'm standing on a soapbox in the middle of the courtyard and talking to any human that walks past versus talking to people I know, people I don't know. And I want you to be writing this stuff. I want you to get clear for yourself. Is it who you're talking to? Is it worse when it's people you know? Is it worse when it's your peers? Is it worse when it's your family? When we start to break down all the little intricacies of all of this stuff for us, it helps you to figure it out where it came from, what the impacts are and what to do with it. But while it's just, I can't do public speaking, that's too big. And for those of you who know me, I'm a mad lover of EFT, so we're going to do some tapping on this stuff to get rid of this stuff. Leslie already sent out the handouts in the email, so that if your handouts are, if you haven't checked your email, they are there. So I want you to break it down for yourself so we can really get into it with you. Audience size, audience type, activity type. Anyone want to come off mute and share?
Yeah, I'll share. I think for me, it's funny. I was thinking it's not even the amount of people. It's if I have to use a microphone or not. Isn't that a strange thing? As soon as I hear my voice projected through any audio device, I freak myself out. So I prefer to, I say, no, lucky I'm European. I've got a loud voice. And so I just try and project my voice as loudly as I can. But there are times when I have to use the microphone and straight away my hand starts to shake and I just don't even, my brain just goes blank.
Beautiful. Now take it deeper for yourself. What is it about the microphone?
Oh,
what happened once?
I think it's about hearing myself. It's I'm about to hear myself and I don't think I like what I hear.
There you go.
Yeah, something like that, maybe.
Something. Perfect. So if everyone else, I want you to think about the same sort of stuff. What is it about it? Thank you, Leanne. Anyone else? Hey, Katie.
I had that it's just the group of people. It's not really about the size, but they're just listening to me.
What part of listening to you is the problem? Break it down for yourself.
Like, what if they find me boring? What if they don't agree with what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yeah, like there's no interaction from them at all. They've just got to suffer through whatever I'm saying or enjoy whatever I'm saying. Either I would rather them enjoy it.
But notice your first language was suffer. Yes,
they may need to suffer.
So write that stuff down. This is important. All right, so what else we've got? Mona, it's the audience type. Worse when it's people I don't know, either in camera or person. Clara, management, especially presenting in front of a group of them or people who have the same knowledge or know more than me. Really well said, Clara, yes. When you think you're presenting to someone who knows more, who is more knowledgeable, or who can call you out and go, yeah, no, that's not right. Notice that. Hey, Melinda, you got your hand up for me?
Yes, I just get totally, I can't read anything. I can't say anything. I just lose it all.
Yeah. So write that down for yourself.
And I stumble and I stutter over everything. And yes, I just don't want to be there.
Yeah. So write that down, write down what happens in the body. So Rita, similar to Clara. Isabella, yoga teaching even to others in the class and not that you're on the same level as. See, it's that, am I going to be an imposter? Am I going to be, what are they going to think? Am I going to say it wrong? And these people would know what right looks like. Write down those things. What was Linda? Same thing, monologue type speaking terrifies her. Write all this down. These are great, great things. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Thank you so much. Let's continue on. Oops. Alrighty, so I talk about language is important. Is speaking in public the same as speaking in front of other people? Because there's this whole public speaking thing. There's this whole big thing that we create as this big monster out of public speaking versus is it the same as speaking in front of people? And my thing is language is really important. The language, exact words you say to yourself is really important. Dale, I've seen you come off mute. Are you coming to chat to me?
I was just going to answer the first question, what you asked, that's all. When you said, what is it about, how many people and stuff like that. Mine is about, it doesn't matter about the amount of people. It's like the focus on me, and it just sort of, people giving me so much presence or something, and then I've got to speak and I can't speak. My brain shuts down. I can't think. I can't remember anything. So I feel really stupid.
Suddenly I'm the center of attention.
Yeah.
Suddenly everyone's looking at me and listening to what I have to say.
Yeah.
So notice judgment in that.
Judgment.
Yeah. Does that sound right? People might be judging me.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is the stuff where when you're doing tapping, when you're getting into tapping, we will never be tapping on, I'm afraid to speak in public.
Okay.
Because there's nothing there in that. That's what we call it in the school, like my practitioner training, that's a tabletop. It is what somebody presents with. It's just the top of the table, and underneath it are all these little legs. People are suddenly I've got on the focus of attention. People may judge what I have to say. People were saying in the chat, what was it that my peers, these people know the same information I know. So what are they going to think? What are they going to say? They're all table legs. So whenever we get into this stuff, we start to do tapping, we want to know the stuff in those table legs. And if anyone doesn't get what I mean with table legs, please ask, as it's a concept we teach in practitioner training. But yeah, just think of it like that. I've got table, not just 4 legs. There could be lots and lots and lots of legs in there. And that's where you're going to do the tapping. And that's why in these classes, I get you to break it down and come further into what it really is for you. Making sense?
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for sharing. Anyone else want to share before we move on? All right, what did Rita say here? What if I say something wrong or make a mistake in presenting facts? Yeah, they're just the big ones. Notice you've probably all got very similar, probably not exact things, but most of them are very, very similar. All right, Sal, now I want you to find out and start to look at what happens in your body. Oops. What happens in your body when you're hearing what I'm saying. If I asked you to go and speak in public right now, if I said, right, you're up, I'm going to bring you off mute and I want you to answer these questions and tell me something. I want to know what happens in your body. And physical body. So most people will be throat, chest or stomach. They're the three primary places that people have reactions to stuff. Note where yours is. And sometimes it's very, very subtle, or until people get very in tune with their body, and then they can be it can be very fast. Like mine's instantly my throat. As soon as I've got something that's uncomfortable, my throat starts to react. It gets gunky, cluggy, and starts to shut in. So where are you tightening? Where is it churning? Is it your palms are sweaty, your heart races? If I was to say, right, I'm bringing you off mute and I want you to speak to the group now, and I want you to feel it. Listen, we've got cold, my sternum feeling cold, heart races, sweaty palms, jaw, throat, stomach frozen, can't say words, anxious. Oh my goodness, guys, this is just fantastic. But notice what happens in the physical body and notice how many of you are very similar. So to give you a really quick space into the sciencey space, this is your fight or flight response in your body activating, but it's also your body's early warning system. So if you've got somewhere that is reacting, make note of it, because whenever you get into somewhere that's feeling odd, uncomfortable, doesn't feel right, fearful maybe, check in with your body, okay? So has anyone not got a physical reaction at all? Is anyone not in tune, hasn't got a physical reaction? No, everyone's got a physical reaction that they're in tune to? Beautiful, love it. No, nobody's popped in the chat. Fantastic, excellent, excellent. So I'm glad you've all got something. Not that I'm glad you've got something, but I'm glad we've got something we can work in and play with. All righty. So next I want you to look at, and I keep losing you guys, next I want you to look at and to think of and to feel what's the intensity. So you've got your emotion, or sorry, you've got your reaction in the body. What's the intensity 0 to 10 of that reaction? Is it really, really high? Is it a 10? You're very tense and very sort of reactive, or is it maybe a 2 or a 3? And what I want you to do is I want you to take yourself back to, Lorna's about to ask me to come off mute, and she's going to ask me some questions, and she's going to put me on the spot. And I want to know what the intensity is to that. Okay, we've got 10s, 8 to 10s, fantastic. 10s, jaw stiffness. 8. So you're worried about who I'm going to pick first? Couldn't help myself. But notice we've got it happening. We've got the reactions happening, even just at the thought of, I'm on a call with this woman and she might take me off mute. Even though you could cancel the call instantly and disappear, there is still that physical reaction in the body. Does anybody not have a number? Does anybody not 100% sure how to connect to their body to get a number, to get an intensity rating? So even if you're not sure what the intensity is, guess. Just guess. There's nothing to really measure this against other than I think, I feel, I sense. Personally, I tend to see the number. I just have the number pop into my head and I see the number. Depending on how you interact with your body as to what you will see. Melinda's a 15. Excellent, Melinda. We've got some distance to go. All right, so I'm just going to let everyone off the hook. I am not going to do that to anybody and bring anybody off mute without announcing, and I would never embarrass you like that at all. Never would I do that. All right, so let's do some tapping on this. Now, is everybody familiar with the tapping points? Is there anybody who on the call who does not know tapping and is absolutely going, what is this mad woman on about? I don't know what tapping is at all. Do we have any absolute newbie tapper people on the call? No, Linda doesn't know what tapping is yet. All right. So there'll probably be a number of you who are unfamiliar with tapping. So tapping is an energy therapy. It's an energy modality. It is a mix of talk therapy. It is a mix of actual meridians of the actual physical body. So when we do tapping, it is imagine what we're trying to do is we're calming the fight or flight in the body. So when you get these reactions and your body starts to tense up, you get cold, you get all those physical reactions, that's coming from the amygdala in the brain. And it's the body sensations of going, I don't feel safe. By doing the tapping on this, we are going to bring each of those numbers down. Now, if you're brand new to this, and it does feel like hocus pocus, don't think for a second those of us who are into it don't know it looks like hocus pocus. We do, and we know it looks completely weird. The beauty is we actually know that it works. Working with someone, with a client, and taking them through tapping, we can take them out of, you know, some level of really traumatic events very quickly down to a level of calm. We can help people overcome who've come through car accidents, who've come through all sorts of traumas and all sorts of life events. We can do this really successfully with tapping. So what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to bring this over here so I can see everybody. So I hate not seeing people. I'll have to work this out. Here is the karate chop point, or the soft side of the hand. So this is the first part. And I'm going to ask everyone to keep your cameras on and tap with us. So we're all going to look kooky together. So nobody's going to look kooky on their own. And that's always the important part. So it's this soft bit of the hand here. That's side of the hand, or the karate chop. Now we'll move to the next point, and it's on the top of the head. It's right up on the crown of the head, right up on the very, very top. And then the next one is here where the beginning of the hair of the eyebrows are. Yep. And then the next one's here at the side of the eye, not the temple, but here the side. And think of the bony bits. If you're thinking of bony bits, and you're tapping, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 times on each spot. Again, under the eye, and again, it's time to lift my glasses. It's here on the bony bit. Can come in a little bit, but in here, under the nose, the chin, in the crease, not on the chin itself, in the crease, on the collarbone. Now my camera's up a little bit high, so flat hand like this, and just on the chest. If you can't see me, look at some of the others. So some of us who are in my school will probably do different parts to the, slightly different parts to the collarbone. Now there is one that's under the arm. I'm going to skip the underarm. It looks kooky when we're on video. I don't know, hot and sweaty, big busted women in Australia. It's not my favorite thing when I'm on demonstration. Do I do it when I'm on my own? Yes, I do, but not necessarily when we're doing it here. Now, do I have a volunteer who'd like to come off and echo with me? Who do I see have a hand up? May, come on off me. Lovely, lovely. So welcome, May. Can I hear you?
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes, I can. So for those of you who are brand new to it, the idea or the best way to do tapping is we do what we call an echo. So I'm going to say statement while everybody's tapping on the same spot. And when I go silent, May is going to repeat it back. And that's when you repeat it. All right. So all you have to do is repeat for me when May's saying it and on the point. So on here in the thing, side of hand, we're going to go, even though I have this reaction to even thinking about speaking in public, I'm going to deeply and completely accept myself. Again, even though I have this reaction in my body to the thought of even speaking in public, deeply and completely accept myself. One more time, even though I have this body reaction, Lorna's going to take me off mute.
Lorna is going to take me off mute,
And she might make me speak in public.
and she might make me speak in public.
My body reacts.
My body reacts.
I feel that fear response.
I feel that fear respond.
But I deeply and completely accept who I am.
I deeply and completely accept who I am.
All right, we're going to tap through the points. Now, what I want people to do is, sorry, half a second, Isabella. I want you to feel into the original thought of, Lorna's going to take me off mute. My body has got a reaction. And I want you to feel in and go, is there an emotion sitting behind it? Is it fear? Is it I'm hiding? Is it my palms are sweaty and I feel? What is the emotion? Let's try and connect into what the emotion is. Have we all got an emotion? And if you want to pop it in the chat, fear, yeah, if you want to pop it in the chat what each of the emotions are, and I bet you'll find they're all very similar. What is the emotion sitting behind what's going on in the body? Yep, look at them all coming through. Fear, fear, fear. Fear and shame. Thanks, Dale. Fantastic. So you'll notice I said very much the same sort of stuff. So what we're going to do for the first round is we're going to use your word. So if your word is fear, use fear. If your word is embarrassed, Dale, you could swap yours or say them both, is fear and shame. So we're just going to tap through all the points. And I'm going to use fear because that's been the primary one. All of this fear.
All of this fear.
Of speaking in public.
Of speaking in public.
All the fear in my body.
All the fear in my body.
I'm feeling it in my body.
I'm feeling it in my body.
All of this fear.
All of this fear.
It's stuck in my body.
It's stuck in my body.
Now I want you to say where your reaction is. It's stuck in my, wherever yours is.
My shoulder.
Where is yours stuck, mate?
Stuck in my shoulder.
Okay, stuck in my shoulder. So wherever yours is, everyone, that's what you're saying. Okay, all the fear stuck in my shoulder.
All this fear stuck in my shoulder.
All the fear in my body.
All this fear in my body.
Showing up in my shoulder.
Showing up in my shoulder.
Fear of speaking in public.
Fear of speaking in public.
Fear of speaking in front of other people.
Fear of speaking in front of other people.
I'm feeling it in my shoulder.
I'm feeling it in my shoulder.
This fear of speaking in public.
This fear of speaking in public.
Lovely. Okay, everyone stop tapping. Big breath. Now we're going to go back to the original thought of Lorna's about to take me off mute. She's going to put me in the spotlight. She's going to ask me questions I don't know. Feel back into your body, into that original number that you had. What is the number now? Some of you may have gone up. Some of you may have gone down. For some of you, it may have moved in your body. All are very normal responses. All very noise. Very, very normal. Has anyone got it shifting in their body? Rita and Melinda, yours is shifting. So notice where it's shifting to. And you want to note where it's going up. Move from the stomach to the throat, Isabella. Mine tends to do that as well. My throat is definitely my place. When we're talking about stuff in the throat, as we know, it's need to be heard, need to be, get my voice out there. What am I not sharing? So notice where it's moved in your body and notice the number. Has anybody spiked up significantly? Let me move to the other screen. We've got lots of us here. Has anyone spiked up significantly? No? Okay, all right. So we're going to do another round of tapping, and I want you to keep a note of, is the emotion still the same? So we were talking about fear to start with. Is it still fear, or has another emotion come up? Because remember we talked table legs. So there can be lots of things in there. All right, so we're going to continue to move on. And we're going to stick to the emotion that's there. So I'm going to stick with fear, and I'm going to stick with May and her shoulder. Okay, all of this fear.
All of this fear.
Sorry, May, is it still in your shoulder?
Well, it's gone down a lot because I just tell myself, feel the fear, do it anyway today.
But is it still in your shoulder? Is that the same, the place?
Yeah, just I think more relaxed now. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so just stick with your shoulder. Okay, so all of this fear.
All of this fear.
Stuck in my shoulder.
Stuck in my shoulder.
All of this fear.
All of this fear.
Stuck in my shoulder.
Stuck in my shoulder.
And remember, everyone, you're using your word and your body part. All of this fear.
All of this fear.
It's stuck there.
Is stuck there.
All of this fear.
All of this fear.
My body knows it's here.
My body knows it's here.
It's stuff from the past.
It's stuff from the past.
Tripping me up.
Tripping me up.
Because I've got all this fear.
I got all of this fear.
Stuck in my body.
Stuck in my body.
Stuck in my shoulder.
Stuck in my shoulder.
Okay, big breath again, everybody. Fantastic. Leanne, yawn away. For all the newbies here, if you're yawning, that is perfect. That is energy shifting and releasing in your body. So do we have people who are still having the numbers go down? Have we got anybody who the numbers have spiked up? What's happening in your body? Check back in with your body. All right, we've got numbers that are going down. Fantastic. If your number's not going down very much, check in with yourself. Are you on the right emotion? Is it still fear or is it something else? You know, Dal was the only one, I think, early on who put shame in there. Is there some shame? Is there some embarrassment? Is there something other than fear? Fear is a very general one, but there may be more to it. Feel into that for a little bit. Is it a different word? Am I on the right word? Because tapping, I don't know who here watches YouTube videos. They're very, very generic. They're very, very general. They use one word and stick to it because they're meant to capture the audience of millions. But when we're tapping on ourselves and doing our own work, and on classes like this, it's about you and your words. So feel into, has the word changed? So we've got some more embarrassment coming up. Are there more other words? Stupid and dumb coming up. What other words are there? Notice they're now being able to shift away from fear. Because fear is a nice big generic word. Yep, we've got why bother coming up. Feel into what other words are there for you. So we're going to do some more tapping on this. Focus in on your words, okay? And I'm going to go and Mona, okay, feel like vomiting, more like disgust. Shift it again. All right, so where's my May? Okay, there you are, May. Is yours still fear or has yours moved to another word?
Still fear of being judged. Still fear, right?
Okay, so notice we've got another word in here, being judged.
Yeah.
How huge is that for people? Who loves being judged by other people? Nobody, ever. All right, so May, we're going to go with all this judgment. All right, all this judgment. And everybody use your own word, all this judgment. Thanks, May. All this judgment.
All this judgment.
All this judgment.
All this judgment.
I feel so judged.
I feel so judged.
What are they going to say?
What are they going to say?
What are all the people on that call going to say?
What are all these people in the call going to say?
What are they going to say if they have to listen to me?
What are they going to say and listen to me?
What if I get it wrong?
What if I get it wrong?
Now, notice the tension in May's voice then. What if I get it wrong?
What if I get it wrong?
What if they know more than I do?
What if they know more than I do?
What if they can see through me?
What if they can see through me?
What if I'm a fraud?
What if I'm a fraud?
What if they know more than I do?
What if they know more than I do?
All this judgment.
All this judgment.
I'm feeling so judged.
I'm feeling so judged.
I just feel all their judgment.
I just feel all of their judgment.
It's taking me back to childhood.
It's taking me back to childhood.
When I was center of attention.
When I was the center of attention.
And everybody was looking.
and everybody was looking,
and people laughed,
and people laughed,
and people said things.
and people say things.
All this judgment,
All of this judgment,
feeling totally judged
feeling totally judged
by everybody.
by everybody.
All these thoughts of judgment,
All these thoughts of judgment,
all these thoughts of being judged,
all these thoughts of being judged,
making me hide.
making me hide,
Yeah, making me stay away.
making me stay away.
Okay, everyone, big breaths. Let's feel into the body again and see where we're up to. Anyone want to share what's happening? Okay, so I'm going to answer Bryce's question. So I'd love to hear more people in the chat where we're all up to. The reason we are focusing on the negative is, and particularly tapping definitely starts with all of the negative stuff, is they're the thoughts you're thinking anyway. Those are the thoughts that we keep buried, we keep hidden away, we shove down with food, alcohol, any sorts of addictions, all the rest of it. We push all of that stuff away anyway. So when we do tapping, we actually focus on all of those negative thoughts. We focus on all that negative stuff that's going on for all of us so we can clear it. So you're no longer burying it down. So you're no longer hiding it away. So what we do, Bri, is we actually stay here and we do the negative stuff. And then when we get to the end, we then start to be able to bring in the positive stuff. But if we go to the positive too fast, all we've done is shove yet another Band-Aid or another covering over the top of. All right, so hopefully that's an explanation to people who are wondering why we get stuck into the negative stuff first. But it is to help clear that. So hey, Melinda, so I did pop you back on mute there for a second. I'm seeing that this is triggering up for you. Do you just want to stay with us in the class, and at the end I'll spend a bit more time with you at the end, and we'll do some of this with you?
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks, Melinda. All right, so anyone else who's got things moving and shifting, anyone else who's got different reactions going on? Dale's down to a 5, throat not as constricted, well done, and feels like a bubble in the throat. Who else has got other physical reactions? All right, Katie's down from a 10 to a 2, well done, Kate. Anyone else who wants to share where they're up to, what they're at, what they noticed, what shifted for them? Remember, this is a confidence class, people. The place to come and be confident. No, we've got no vocal sharers tonight, which is perfectly fine. I said I'm not pulling anyone off mute. Nobody needs to panic. Body's more relaxed. That's the whole idea. The idea is to take the tension out of the body so that you do have less of these triggered emotions from that fight or flight response. So thanks, May, for being my echo through that one. We're going to continue on.
You're welcome.
Alrighty, so now what I want you guys to talk about, or to look at for yourself, is what was the story you told yourself when you think about doing speaking? So when I said I'm going to ask you to come off and do some public speaking and speak to this group of these people you don't know, what was the story that runs through your head, even when you just think about doing it? And just before you do it. Now, for people, this is also when you're heading into that presentation, into that office, and you're heading in and your whole boardroom's full, or only 2 people in the board, and you're about to present, what's the story that runs through your head? You pick up your phone, whoever's got their mobile phone, particularly my students, and you're about to go on social media on that phone, and you're about to do a live. What's the story you told yourself? Because this is important stuff. We want to know what you're actually saying to yourself. So what do we get? Mine, Isabella, no, not doing that. Not good enough story runs. What is the story? I don't know what to say. I don't say how to say, yet not fully prepared. So where is that for Linda? Was that Linda that said that? Yeah, beautiful. So have a think about, if that's the story that you're telling yourself, what are you making it mean about yourself? Again, this is us playing in the table legs. What's the story you told yourself? Feel silly, done with no value to add. That's a really typical one, Mona, particularly people in business. You've got to turn up on your social media. You've got to turn up on, something live or even a video. We question whether we have value. Even if we've got qualifications, we've just done training, we know our stuff. There is that element of, but how am I adding value to someone else's life? Rita's the same, don't have anything important to say, even though you really do. Yeah, it's the story that we tell. These stories are important to figure out what the story is so we can shift the stories. Okay, so Bryce, I have no problems in small groups, but it's the larger audiences. So Bryce, if you want to pop into the chat, what's the difference between the numbers for you? Because it's the same words coming out of your mouth, the same on stage or just simply in a group. Figure out what the difference is. What's the numbers that's in the important part? Because remember, we're going to dig into all the bits that are not functional. We want to know what the bits are. As though, what will others think, whether they like it or not? Yep, again, we're worried about what other people will think. So this is the next part. What are you telling yourself? What's the story you are telling? Because we want to figure out what that is as well. Because most of the problems that happen for us are all because we have a story running in our head. So is that right? Large group is more faces to look at whilst talking. Now, isn't that curious? It's to do with more faces looking at you. So again, dig into why is that the problem for you? Because you want to figure out what that actually is. Anyone want to share some other stuff? Anyone want to come off mute and share with me? No, we're all good in the chat. That's fine. So we notice if we look in the chat, if other people look in the chat, there's very common themes. Very, very common themes as to what's going on for people. And I'm going to put it out there. The bulk of them are about judgment. Who is going to judge me? Do we agree? Is it something more? Something different? Hey, Rita, pop off mute, come chat to me.
Yeah, just a realization when you said on social media, and it's my choice because that's a platform with friends and everything. But if I was in a group situation, it'll be different because those people have chosen to be there. Mm-hmm. So the judgment and fear, anxiety is less, or it's not there. So it's more to be out of place where there could be judgment.
Okay, so am I hearing that depending on where you're presenting, for want of a better term, as to what the reason?
Yeah, when you mentioned social media, I'm fine doing general things about my garden and stuff like that. I'll just go on and, I'll do it, no problem. But if I was to start talking about EFT or NLP or anything else, then I'll feel that maybe this is not the right audience and there is potential judgment happening there. But my realization now is I don't have to do that there. So, I can actually go into a group situation and do it there where, it's going to be more accepted and I'll feel more comfortable.
And let us take that another step further, if you don't mind, Rita, is think about that as tribe. If you are in business or you're starting your business, if you're not presenting the right message to the right tribe, you possibly will feel out of place. I hear what you're saying. On my social media page, when it was just my private page, I didn't do a whole lot of my business stuff. Now that my business page has been taken over by my business, I'm all good with the fact that team now runs my private page. I then had to go and say to my family and friends, if you don't like the stuff on my private page, sorry, but that's now what the purpose of it is. So it shifted and it changed what was actually of how I was going to present in that space.
Yeah, I'm just getting to that. Yeah, I'm just getting to the tribal and the avatar and narrowing it down.
The other thing is to think about is your identity. When I have an identity, you have an identity that I am, say you're a school teacher. Everybody knows me that I'm a school teacher. Suddenly now I'm going off to be a coach or an EFT practitioner. That's our space, an EFT practitioner. But you used to be a school teacher. people know you in the identity of, yeah, but you're a school teacher, what are you doing? So when you start to shift across, you need to bring your personal identity with you. I now see myself as an EFT practitioner and the work I do here and all of that, because if your identity doesn't come over with you, then that's another space where you'll get on that phone to go on social and go, I don't fit, I can't do that here, I don't feel valued, I don't feel like I'm giving a message, because your identity hasn't shifted across with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. And I think until now, with EFT, I mean, I've done EFT for many years now, and it's shifted to more scientific based. And I am a scientist by background. So it was missing back then in 2011, 12. But now we've got the evidence, and it's, you know, it's well recognized and very effective. And we've got the research to back it up. So I like that, you know, it's shifting that identity, that when you're speaking is to actually be in that new identity. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do a lot of work as a school of that to bring you along to. So if you have done qualifications and you're stepping into anything that resembles a new business, think about your identity, everyone coming with you, or creating an identity that's congruent with the new skills and training you've got or the new space that you want to enter into.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. So where are we up to? All right, what is the story you tell yourself straight after you've done the speaking? Have we done that one? What is the story you tell yourself straight after you've done it? So we know that the nerves, and we know what was happening in the body with the mere thought of going to do it. But now what's the story yourself? Yeah, Isabella, wasn't that bad? Melinda, I'm not going to say yours because that's a naughty word. Leanne, it was fun. Notice the difference. Oh, no, I wish I hadn't said that. Kate, no. Notice that there's some positive stories straight after, but then there's some not so positive. We're back to judgment. Kate's back to judgment. Rita's back to judgment. But Leanne got into that was fun. It's the story that's important. Because while you're running the story, that's the stuff that's going to continue in your head. Right, did I miss any points? Any other comments on that? What do you say straight after you've done it? Or are you someone who's not actually done it and you're thinking that you're going to have to do it soon, but you haven't done it yet? So for some of you, you may not even be in that space yet. For some of these, did I get it right and did I miss any points? I know when I do, because I do a Facebook Live every Friday, and so, and many of you will come here because of those Facebook Lives. I literally have, I have a little pad of Post-it notes, and I write 2 or 3 points on each of those Post-it notes, and I have that beside my camera. So while I ad-lib and I can talk for hours without anything, I put little Post-it notes there to make sure I don't miss those key points. Little tiny piece of paper, 4 or 5 points. And if you're on a video and you are on live and you go, let me just check my note, nobody will care. There's some points for you to do that. Judgment of self. Thank goodness it's over. Well done, Brian. Not that hard. Why did I stress? Notice the conversation afterwards, because you're on the other side. You have to do it again. Yeah, Melinda, you've got to keep doing it once you start. Once we get you onto social media, you don't get to come off. So I'm thinking now we will go and do some more tapping. May, are you happy to do the echo, or do you want to hand over to someone else? What do you want to do?
I'm happy to continue unless someone else wants to volunteer. I'm also, yeah, whichever way is good.
Yeah, if you're happy.
Yeah, as I say that I feel the fear and do it anyway so that the fear does not control me. That's what I learned.
So tell me right now, do you have some intensity in your body that you're now center of attention here?
No.
Is that a real no?
Yeah. I know my fear. I think after yesterday, I tap away because I usually don't go on camera because I always the fear of being judged. But now I say, like you say, it doesn't matter, even though I was, whatever, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, so in this round, I said the points are exactly the same that we're going to use. And this time what we're going to do is, let's just talk about the story in my head, okay? Even though I tell myself a story about what it meant to be seen. But I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I tell myself a story before I go on anything live, or before I stand up in front of people
or before I stand in front of other people
and open my mouth, the fear comes in. But I deeply and completely accept who I am. Even though I have all this fear, and it comes out as a story that I just repeat. I deeply and completely accept myself. All right, let's just tap through the points. This story I tell, it's completely made up. I have no evidence for my story. It's not based on fact. It's something I made up. Just a story. It feels very true. My body says it's true. But it really is just a story. Logic helps to say it's a story. But emotion keeps it stuck. This story I tell myself. The story I repeat. Another way to judge myself. This is all based on judgment. All of these stories. The stories I tell myself. They're keeping me stuck. It's stopping me doing things. That's important to me. Important for my career. Or important for my business. Just keeping me stuck. All of these stories. Based in judgment. All these stories. All of these stories. Too many stories. Okay, everyone stop tapping. Big breath in. All right, so Bryce, I think you're saying, did I miss any points? If you miss a tapping point while we are tapping, it doesn't matter. If you find a point you can't reach or is uncomfortable or sore, it doesn't matter. Just move to the next point, continue to tap. Now, I want all of us to circle back around to the very beginning where we started to talk about, Lorna's going to take me off mute, and I am feeling this response in my body, and I want to know now where those intensities are. When we're doing tapping, we're always aiming to head, 1, 2, 3 at the most. In the group work, it's sometimes you can't quite get it as low as you'd like to. Private sessions with private practitioners, you do. Sometimes in the group, we don't get it quite as low as we'd like to. But I'd love to know in the chat, have we got them, 2 or 3s, anything higher? Kate from 10 down to a 2, fantastic. Leanne, if you want to pop your numbers into there, feel into your own body. Close your eyes if you need to. I'm one high. I need to kind of and feel into it where it is. So I tend to close my eyes. Where have we got our intensity shifting down to? Fantastic. We've got 8s down to 2s. Fabulous, fabulous. So my aim for everyone is to feel a lovely level of calm, a lovely level of centered and grounded is what we're after. I said, for those of us who are used to tapping, you'll know that the body feels calm. I feel like my blood's moving in my body is what I tend to find when I'm tapping. I feel this sort of energy starting to move around. But it's the ability just to bring the calmness down in the body, in the whole fight or flight system. So fabulous. Mona, we're getting down to a 5. So people's numbers are starting to come down. Anyone got comments? Anyone got questions? Anyone want to share where they're at? Yep, Rita, beautiful. Come off mute, come chat to me.
Yeah, it went right down. And then when I actually went back to the memory, it came up again. So I'm just clearing that memory off, but it did come right down. So that was good. But it's just that I need a little bit of work on the past memory. And I've opened into uncertainty because at that time I was uncertain about the topic because it was a training platform. And it was just like any topic, and I had to stick to a protocol and everything. So I think things got a bit messy there. So I'll just tap on that. Thank you.
And go back, everyone, to what you'd said at the beginning, where when we started to talk about the table leg stuff, we started to feel into things. Go back to all of those, because all of those are tapping topics on their own. We kind of think, there's this big holistic, the whole confidence thing, but the confidence is hidden behind something. Because confidence on itself is not, it's a positive thing. We can't tap on it. It's the table legs that we want to tap on. All right, any more questions or any more comments? So let's talk, and I'm going to pop back over to you guys here. I keep losing this facing. We're going to have to, whoops. I'm going to have to sort that for next month. I don't particularly like that. So when we talk about TFT and when we talk about the foundational EFT, which is, it's sort of the real beginning stuff. I have a course that I'm going to give you a very quick overview on in a second. But what we do with the foundational EFT, and we really get into this sort of work, is get specific. Those YouTube channel videos and those ones that are in training programs that are for the masses are exactly that. They're for the masses. They're very generic. But tonight we worked on your words, and that's where you really, really want to head to. So name the thought or name the feeling. All right? Really want to get into the feeling. You really want to get into the actual emotion and what the emotion is that you're feeling. Find it in your body. Because remember, I kept saying to where it is in your body and feel the intensity. My belief is that the mouth and the mind can lie, the body cannot lie. When the body is having a reaction, that's where the reaction is, and the body, it just stays in the body. So always find where it is in your body. It just makes tapping so much easier. Rate the intensity, 0 to 10. 10 being, the highest, 0 being, 0 being the lowest. There's nothing there. If you've got something that's probably only a 1 or a 2, I would dig deeper, or I would sit and find out what the emotion is that's really underneath it. Now, I think it was Dell who started with fear and then got into shame, and then other ones started to bring up embarrassment. So notice when you start to break it down, and often the intensity will pick up and get more intense when you get to the right word. So when you're doing your tapping, you want to do the tapping on the words of this emotion I'm feeling, this fear, this hurt, this anger, whatever it is. Focus on the emotion, not the thing. I had a fight with my mum. That's okay, but what did you feel about that? I feel so angry that I had a fight. I feel shameful. I feel embarrassed. I feel whatever it is that you're feeling, that's what you want to be tapping on. So that gives you really brief or really insightful into what you need to be doing when you're doing your own tapping. Okay, so on the screen is all of the things that tapping can do. So while I run these masterclasses and I pick topics, There are so many more things that EFT and tapping can be used for. Now, while there's a load of topics and there's a load of headings on the screen, remember when we do each one of them, we are still going to be looking at the table legs. These here are all tabletops. But when we talk tabletops in the school, it is about what does the person present with? Because 9 times out of 10, as a practitioner, when somebody comes to me and says, I have blah, blah, or I am bothered by this, or I'm upset by that, that thing isn't the thing we end up working on. It is something in the table legs. So when you look at lists like these that show you all the things EFT can help with, remember, these are your tabletops, and you're always going to want to be in the table legs. Is there any questions or any comments about any of the things that EFT can be used for? Any specific questions on any of them? No, it's coming off.
Were you supposed to share the screen about the things that it is not appearing on our screen? Is that just
you don't have a screen?
Yeah.
No? Oops.
No.
So have you not had the screen share at all the whole class?
No.
No?
No.
Really?
Is that just me? Yeah.
No, it was a whole screen share. Isn't that weird? Oh my goodness. Leslie and I have had the funnest day, clearly, where nothing has worked at all. So I keep moving the chat thing because it kept showing me this video of you guys, then it kept moving. I go, I don't like this that it doesn't show me where you guys are.
Yeah, we got the workbook that was to be downloaded.
Oh, look, this
That was
literally, this is just the funnest. Thank you, May, for telling us.
I was wondering, but I thought you would share later, but now until this point, nothing.
It was supposed to share the whole time. If I can even find what I was supposed to share. Clearly, this was what was supposed to be shared the whole time.
Yes, now you can see it.
Ta-da! So let me tell you, who would have had their confidence completely knocked if this had happened to them? On a show of hands. Would it have been something that would have rocked your little boat? But we've got to laugh about it, don't we?
To laugh at it, yeah. Yeah, I have it before, and then you just laugh at it and just say, oh, no, tech issue, glitch, and that's okay.
So for anyone who wasn't on the call right at the very beginning, we found out that the poll didn't work when there was a poll that was supposed to happen partway through the presentation. And now we're finding the presentation didn't come because there's been no slideshow. So now on the screen are all of the things that EFT can help with. And I'll go back again and say the things that are bolded are the things that people turn up with, the things that people come and talk to practitioners with. People that come to me as a practitioner, my graduate practitioners, these are the things people come and tell us are their problems. But so if you're looking at this and going, they're mine, I have that problem, this is your tabletop. I want you to look at your table legs. Okay, so remember, all of these are tabletops. We want you in the table legs. So now I'm going to move along and do my whole screen share. So if you are interested in doing more of EFT tapping or taking it even deeper, this is the one of my basic course, that's the foundational EFT course. It is going to take you through all of the foundational work that EFT is about. And it's also going to help you go through things like cravings. It's going to help you go through what else is in there. So there's cravings for different foods. It is, gosh, I'm completely thrown because my slideshow not working. It takes you through the basics that you would do if you were going to be a practitioner, but it's for yourself. So it's going to show you how to actually clear out anything that you've got going on that's been maybe a bit of a trauma, maybe a bit of a memory from your past. It's going to help you to clear out all of those things. It shows you all sort of the basics. It will talk about the tabletops. It will talk about how you do constricted breathing techniques. It will talk about and show you how you really do what's called a personal peace procedure. Go into into the memories and the events and stuff that's gone on with your life, so you can pull all of that apart. There's demonstrations in there that has me actually working with other people. We've got, there was a girlfriend of mine that had chocolate, and we figured out where the chocolate came from. Had nothing to do with the chocolate. Another one, there was the potato crisps, had nothing to do with the potato crisps. It was to do with stuff what her mother had said to her when she was a teenager. There was another one that's in there. There was a guy in our school who loved brandy in the afternoon, and we helped him get off brandy. All of those things are included in this foundational course. Oh, see, here goes my little voice. So I want to, if you want to know more about that, I should add to here, if you want to know more about that, Leslie's going to pop it into the chat now, I believe, where she's going to, oops, she was going to pop it in the chat. Is that even working now? So lovely, Leslie, can you just put the links into the chat so people can find out about the foundational EFT training if that's something you're interested in. If you're interested in working with private sessions with me to actually get over things that you've got going on and you're looking for a practitioner, I do take on private clients if that's something else that you're interested in. But now let's go back to more of unplugging where you're at, and let's have a very quick look at what is your earliest memory that you have about having a reaction to speaking in front of other people. This is the stuff we start to talk about being foundational. Let's go back to the beginning stuff. Where is the beginning? What is your earliest memory? And remember, again, we are still playing in the table legs. Earliest memory. Can you go back to, I don't know, when you first started at your first job? I can tell when I first started my first job, I was 16, and my boss told me at the office, oh, by the way, Lorna, you're giving staff training tomorrow. Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, you are. And he booked me in, and he told me, I still remember, I can still see the man's face. I was 16, and I rang in sick. I would rather have him give me a bollocking and tell me off the next day than front up and speak to my own team about the job that I did. I knew my job and I could do it, and I rang in sick. And the next time he rostered me on, I rang in sick again, because the fear of standing up in front of my team was far worse than anything he was going to do to me the next day when I reappeared at the office. So I know that you can overcome any fear of speaking in public that you have, because I know that I have. And tapping for me has probably done more in the more recent years than anything I had done prior to that. So dig into, what is your earliest memory? Is it at work like mine was when I was 16? Is it earlier? Is it stuff when you were in school? Is it what your parents said to you at school? Was it you that was ridiculed in school because you spoke up? Or was it because somebody else was ridiculed or told off or spoken to, and that attention brought right on them? Was it that? Because when you figure out what your earliest memory was, I'm going to ask you to go in and do tapping on that. That's going to be your tapping homework for after this class. And as an example, so if your earliest memory was, I was in the classroom, so I'll do one of mine. I was in the classroom with Miss Miller, and Miss Miller shouted at me because when I spelt the word zebra, I got it wrong. That time in class when Miss Miller shouted at me and I got in trouble. If that's something that's on for you, what you would do is you would focus on, right, Miss Miller shouted at me. What's the intensity in my body? Where do I feel it? We take it back to those. Now, you may have been sitting in class and the kid three desks from you got told off because he spoke up or she spoke up. So yours might be that thing that happened to that kid when the teacher shouted at him. I didn't want that to happen to me. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to me. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to hide. So whether it's you or somebody else, the impacts can be the same. Because if you see somebody getting in trouble, and, depending on what your upbringing is, but you're like, I'm not doing that. There is no way I'm doing that. that becomes your tapping point. That becomes the stuff that you actually want to tap on, because that's the foundational stuff that's brought you to being a grown-up today and to go, I'm not even going to speak in public. I'm not even going to speak in front of other people. I get too overwhelmed and reactive in my body if I speak to other people. This earliest memory stuff takes you back to the foundational stuff. Do we have any questions? Any comments? I'm going to go and check the chat. All right, so Leslie has popped in the options in there if people want to look at the EFT Level 1 course, which is foundational training. If it's for standalone just for you and you want to work on your own stuff, it's the perfect starting space. It is very detailed, very comprehensive, pops you into private chat group. You get to ask me any of the questions. Next year, we'll be running some live classes on the EFT Level 1, so you'll be able to come onto the classes and ask them live, but you get the Facebook group in the meantime. If you want to work one-on-one with me, as well as the EFT course, that's an option available as well. But remember, name the thought, name the feeling, go and identify what the actual emotion is, find it in your body, rate the intensity, and do the tapping on the emotion. Super, super, super easy steps. There is the tapping points, tapping diagram. And remember, you can't get it wrong. If one of the points doesn't work for you or you don't feel comfortable there, just skip it. I said in presentations, I don't tend to put, I use under the arm. Hey, Leanne.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, if you're working with someone and they really can't identify the emotion and you're asking in various different ways, can you start with what they have presented, which might be a physical sensation or one of the tabletops?
Yes, you absolutely can. Absolutely can. So
yeah.
You've come with, what have you got an example of someone who's come with something?
Yeah, I do. So a client was saying that they had a lack of focus. And I said, okay, well, how does it make you feel when you have a lack of focus? And they said, fearful. And I said, okay, let's talk about that. But they said it was only at a 1 or a 2, but the lack of focus was at a 9 or a 10. And I thought, okay, well, maybe if we start with the lack of focus, we can unpick it and dig deeper into the fear. And it didn't go there, but the lack of focus improved anyway. But we weren't sure. It was on the triad, and my observer said, oh, perhaps you should have, tried to dig deeper for the emotion. And I said, yeah, maybe we need to ask somebody about that. But I couldn't quite get her to identify an emotion that was triggering enough.
Yep. So it might be that emotion that I'm feeling, I have no idea what it is.
Okay.
It's probably there somewhere, but I don't know. And it's just acknowledging that there's a something.
Yeah, okay. Because I started on the lack of focus. So this lack of focus,
yeah, you could have done that.
That was okay, because that's where I went with it. And then it went down, and then she was feeling a physical response. And so we tapped on that because that was very intense. Yeah. So that was okay. All right.
So we don't want to push them into places where they're not ready to go, or where they're not feeling. And when you're doing your tapping, you never want yourself or someone else to feel like I'm getting it wrong, or I'm feeling stupid. I can't do that. You never want to have that. That is the reaction from somebody.
Yeah.
So certainly, if it's not obvious and they're not able to find it, great. We'll start where you are, because we always want to meet people where they are anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And you're guiding them and leading them. So if they're not leading anywhere, absolutely, start where they are.
Okay. Good. All right. Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions from anybody? Because we're just about out of time. Last month, I did have some questions on what else we do. Advanced Practitioner of EFT and Life Coach Training is our flagship program. So that's really where I started my EFT school, was offering this as a program. Everything else has sort of come after that. So if you're interested in being an EFT practitioner or know someone who does, it's a 100% online training course. So get in touch about that. The other thing I do is I do a lot of training for practitioners who have trained elsewhere and then come to me as a trainer to get them to help them with other parts of their business. So whether it's business coaching, the Create and Sell Your First Online course is not just for EFT practitioners. It's for anybody who wants to have any sort of online presence and create courses online. It's a really in-depth training that I created. How to run a tapping circle, very much based for EFT practitioners. So I create the school is based from everyone from beginners right through to advanced parts of your training, and creating the business that you want that's really sort of where my passion lies. So yeah, we are Australia's premier training academy. Who am I? So maybe I should have done this a bit at the beginning. I am Lorna Hollinger. I'm an Amazon best-selling author. I have Master EFT Practitioner, Master NLP Practitioner, life coaching diplomas, lots of business qualifications. My online training, my EFT practice went from my dining room table to a complete online presence. Lots of success in creating online courses. That's where my real passion absolutely is. This EFT training is my absolute heart and soul. It really is my baby, and it's just where I really put all of my energy into. So if you're interested in anything to do with EFT training, I'd love to have a conversation with you. Where do you want to do? As I said, if there's anything people want to work on one-on-one, that's where I do my great work with people in that space. Otherwise, it's the online training. Probably